I didn't react when I read the will. That surprised even me. No anger, no dramatic disbelief. No confrontation staged in my head. Just a strange, quiet sensation, like something heavy finally settling into its correct position. Everything to my brother. The lawyer's voice had been measured. Professionally neutral, the words delivered with the gentle cadence reserved for uncomfortable disclosures. It was their decision. Of course it was. No one forced their signatures. No one held their hands. Still, the sentence lingered long after the meeting ended. I drove home in silence, the city moving with its usual indifference. Traffic lights changed. Pedestrians crossed. Somewhere someone laughed loudly outside a cafe. Normalcy felt oddly aggressive. At home I made coffee I didn't drink, sat at the kitchen table, and began replaying the past few years with an unsettling new clarity. The mortgage assistance, the medical bills, the temporary tight months, the emergencies that arrived with predictable irregularity. I had never been asked directly. That was the artistry of it. Needs were simply mentioned, concerns gently expressed, stress quietly implied, and I responded the way I always had, without hesitation, because that's what families do, or at least, that's what I believed families did. By evening, the emotional math felt unavoidable. If everything was already his, then what exactly had I been financing? The thought didn't feel bitter. It felt structural, like noticing a crack in a foundation you had mistaken for a shadow. So I stopped. Not dramatically, not ceremonially. I didn't call anyone, didn't send a message, didn't announce a principle. I simply stopped. Automatic transfers canceled. Recurring payments removed. Financial gravity restored to its original owner. At first, nothing happened. Days passed, then weeks. Family silence remained intact. No accusations, no inquiries, no subtle emotional probing. Which, oddly, confirmed everything. Absence rarely goes unnoticed, unless it was never fully acknowledged to begin with. Exactly 1 month later my phone buzzed. "Mom." I glanced at the screen. A text, no greeting, no warmth, no conversational cushioning. Just, "The mortgage is due." I stared at the message longer than necessary. Not because I needed time to think, but because something about its familiarity felt surreal. As if the previous decades of emotional choreography had never occurred, as if my role were a permanent fixture rather than a voluntary participation. The mortgage is due. Not hello, not how are you, not even can you help, just fact presented as obligation. My chest tightened slightly, not with anger, with recognition. I typed slowly, deleted, typed again, deleted again, not out of uncertainty, out of precision, because words, once sent, have weight. And weight matters when structures are shifting. Finally, I replied, "You should speak to the homeowner." The response looked unnervingly calm on the screen. Almost polite. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then, my phone rang. I answered. What is that supposed to mean? My mother's voice carried that familiar edge, irritation layered with disbelief. I said evenly, "The property belongs to him." Silence. Then, "Don't start this nonsense." Nonsense. Such a useful word. I'm not starting anything. You're being ridiculous. I'm being accurate. Her exhale was sharp, controlled. We are still your parents. Yes, and families help each other. When appropriate. That pause. That microscopic shift in conversational gravity. After everything we've done for you, there it was. The archival weaponry of family conflict. Not facts, narratives. Emotional accounting disguised as moral authority. I'm not discussing history, I said quietly. You can't just walk away from responsibilities. They were never responsibilities. No, I said. They were choices. Silence expanded between us. Heavy, uncomfortable, unfamiliar. Because some arguments aren't about money. They're about identity. Roles, expectations calcified over decades. You've changed, she said finally. The accusation landed softly. Almost wounded. Yes, another silence, this one different, less sharp, more uncertain. Then, what are we supposed to do? The question carried something unexpected. Not anger. Disorientation. And for a moment, just a moment, I felt the old reflex stir, the familiar pull toward accommodation, repair, relief. But clarity has inertia once established. I don't know, I said gently. And for the first time that answer was honest. Weeks passed. Conversations became careful, measured, stripped of their old automatic assumptions. No dramatic fallout. No theatrical reconciliation. Just distance reshaped into something quieter, more deliberate. One evening, sitting alone in my apartment, I noticed something unexpected. The absence of tension. Not relief, not satisfaction, just the strange, steady quiet of a boundary finally holding. Outside, the city hummed with ordinary life. Unconcerned. Unchanged. For the first time in years, my phone sat still beside me. And the silence no longer felt like something waiting to be filled.